When I talk about computer system, computer must have three components, that is hardware, software and user. Application software is nothing but a computer program and it is mainly designed to perform specific job or specific task. What's the common language of any computer system? That is machine level language. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on type of software. I'm Revati from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, before going to start my today's session, let me to recall the things which I have covered in my last session. So dear student, in my last session, I have covered the following topic, that is hexadecimal number to binary number, octal number to hexadecimal number and hexadecimal number to octal number. Along with that, I have covered computer codes, that is nothing but binary coded decimal number system, gray code and Unicode and ASCII code, and these are the topic I have covered in my last session of this unit. But in my today's session, I'm going to deal with what is software, the type of software. In that, I'm going to deal with what is language translator, what is linker, what is loader, and the need of utility softwares, etc. Now, at the beginning, I'm going to have the introduction. And when I talk about computer system, computer must have three components, that is hardware, software and user. Without these three components, computers are not able to perform, because to perform perfectly, computer must have hardware support as well as software as well as user, and these are the building blocks of computer system. Now, if I consider hardware, it consists of physical component. So it is mainly going to deal with physical components like keyboard, mouse, etc. That is known as hardware. That means user can able to feel as well as touch. And if I go with software, what is software here? A software is a set of instruction. So what is software? It is nothing but a group of program or collection of program or set of instruction. That means computers are dummy machine, and if I want to any work that is done by the computer system, then I must want to provide the instruction or I must want to give the instruction. So here what is software? Software is nothing but the set of instruction that tells the computer system to perform an intended task. For example, suppose if I want to perform addition operation, say 2 plus 2 equal to 4, then I'm going to instruct the computer system to read 2 number. After reading, I'm going to instruct the computer system to perform addition. After addition, once again, I'm going to instruct the computer system to display the output to the user. At the same time, store the output in the computer memory. So this is nothing but the step-by-step execution. I'm going to give the instruction to the computer system to perform its execution. That is itself known as software or set of instruction. If I consider software, softwares are categorized into two types: system software as well as application software. Anyway, dear student, let's see what is system software. So the name itself indicates that system, that means computer requires some software to perform its functionality. So here system software is a computer program. So here system software is a computer program that controls all the system hardware as well as interact with the application software. So what is system software? That is nothing but computer software which is responsible for controlling system hardware as well as interact with the application software. For example, think that, dear student, I have installed MS Word in my laptop, and if I want to enter the data in my document, I required hardware. What hardware? That is keyboard. So dear student, system software is nothing but the computer program. It is going to control all the hardware which is connected to the computer system. Along with that, it's going to interact with the application software. And all the system softwares are hardware dependent and not portable. So dear student, all the system softwares are hardware dependent. That means depending on the hardware, I can able to install software, that is system software, and it is not portable. That means I cannot able to install from one system to another. Now, system software provides a convenient environment for program development and execution. So here system software provides a very good working environment as well as convenient environment for program development and execution. And programming languages like assembly level language, C, C++, Visual Studio or C#, Pascal are used to develop the system software. That means all the high level programming languages as well as assembly level languages are used to develop system software, and these system softwares are further classified into three types, that is language translator, operating system, utility software. So dear student, what you have to remember here, that is system software is nothing but the computer program or set of instruction, and it is designed mainly to control system hardware, along with that interact with the application software. Moving further, I'm going to have the application software. So dear student, once again it is also computer program, but it is designed based on the user request. So dear student, application software that has been written to perform a specific job. So application software is nothing but a computer program, and it is mainly designed to perform specific job or specific task. Application software is generally written in high level language. So most of the application softwares are written by using high level programming language, and it is mainly going to focus on the user application, not the computing system. Application software is classified into two types, that is application specific software as well as general purpose software. Let's see what is application specific software. So as the name itself indicates that softwares are designed to perform specific task. Example, accounting software. So accounting software is the best example for application specific task. That means it is responsible for performing specific task. For that reason, it is called application specific software. Then I'm going to have my second type, that is general purpose software. So here softwares are used to perform general kind of task. For example, MS Word or MS PowerPoint or MS Excel, Tally, Oracle. These are the example for general purpose application software. So here what is the application software? Application software is nothing but a computer program or set of instruction that is designed to perform specific job or specific task. Further, it is classified into two types, application specific and general purpose application software. Now, dear student, I'm going to have the table representation. That is, I'm going to have the computer software, how these computer softwares are classified. So here, if I consider computer software, mainly it is classified into two types, that is application software and system software. And if I consider application software, further it is classified into application specific as well as general purpose software. If I go with system software, the system software is once again categorized into three different types, that is language translator, operating system, along with that utility software. So here, if I consider language translators, I'm going to have assembler, compiler, along with that interpreter. If I go with operating system, I can able to have Windows operating system, Linux operating system, or Unix, Mac OS, etc. And if I go with utility software, I can able to have antivirus, backup software, etc. So this is all about the type of software. Moving further, I'm going to have computer language. So what is this computer language? Will computer speaks? You may ask me. So dear student, if I want to interact with the computer system, then I must know computer language. So whatever the instruction I am going to provide to the computer system through the programming language, like human being, computer is also understands only programming language. Now, a programming language is a set of rules. So here, programming language is nothing but a set of rules called syntax which user has to follow. Suppose user want to interact with the computer system, they must have to follow the rules, and it is itself known as syntax. So here, to instruct the computer what operations are to be performed. Now, if I want to instruct the computer system that what operation are to be done or performed, for that I require programming language. Now, if I consider computer programming language, it is classified into two types, that is low-level programming language and high-level programming language. And if I go with low-level language, once again it is classified into two types, machine-level language and assembly-level language. And if I go with high-level language, then it is called general purpose language and specific purpose language. Anyway, dear student, let's see the type of programming language in depth. So dear student, now I'm going to have machine level language. Now this machine level language is the fundamental language of computer. That means the most commonly used computer language is machine language, because machine understands only machine level language. That is nothing but binary numbers. So here machine understands only zeros and ones. So what's the common language of any computer system? That is machine level language, and it is written by using binary number, that is 0 and 1. So all the machine languages are written by using binary number, that is 0 and 1. A program written in the machine level language is called machine code. So any language which is written by using machine language is called machine code. So the instructions are provided in machine level language is directly understood by the computer, and it is converted into the electronic signal. So whatever the instruction I'm going to provide to the computer system, if it is in the form of machine level language, then that is directly understood by the computer system, and it is converted into electronic signal. Now this is the table used to give the information about machine language. So the statements are written in the form of zeros and ones. So all the statements are written in the form of zeros and ones. Suppose if I use this machine code format, then that tells the computer to load the data. Suppose if I go with next statement, then it tells the computer that add the content. And if I go with the third statement, then it tells the computer that store the result. And if I go with all the zeros, then it indicates that stop. So dear student, if I consider statements, I have two parts, that is opcode and operand. My first part, that is opcode, and remaining 8 bits are nothing but the operands, that is nothing but address as well as location. And if I consider opcode, what is opcode? That is operation code. So here load, add, store, stops are nothing but the operation code, and operand is nothing but address or location. That means where I want to store the data or from where I want to fetch the data. All those things are nothing but the operand. Now the first 4-bit represents opcode, denoting the operations such as load, move, store, add, subtraction, etc. And 8-bit opcode denotes the address. Now, the advantage of machine level program is it is directly typed and executed, so no need of compiler or any translator. Because if I go with machine level language, all the instructions are directly typed, so I does not require any compiler or any translator. And what is the disadvantage here? That is, these instructions are machine dependent. So whatever the instruction I'm going to write by using machine level languages are machine dependent, and it is very difficult to program, modify and debug the errors. Moving further, I'm going to have my next type of low-level programming language, that is assembly level language. Now, assembly level language is also the example for low-level programming language, and that allows the user to write the program by using letters, words and symbols, and it is called mnemonics. So dear student, just remember here, when it is assembly level language, then it is mnemonics. Mnemonics means what? We are going to have special symbols, words along with the letters, and it is known as mnemonics. So instead of binary digit, I can able to use mnemonics in my assembly level language, and the program which is written by using assembly level language is called assembly code. Now, this is the example for assembly level language. So, all the statements are example for assembly level language. So, here I have symbols, I have letters as well as I have words, and this is known as mnemonics. So, here STA, that is store A. So, that is load the data to accumulator. Now add the B with the accumulator content, store the data and print the data. Halt is nothing but stop. So dear student, these are the example for mnemonics. Now, however, a program in assembly language has to be converted to machine equivalent. That means if I consider computer system, computers are able to understand only machine level language or machine code. Now I have assembly level language. It is not understood by the computer system. So I want to convert my assembly code to machine code. For that reason, I require translator. And what translator I'm going to use here? That is assembler. So the job of the assembler is to take assembly level language and convert that into machine code. So the translator program that converts the assembly code into machine code is called assembler. Now, what is the advantage here? Mnemonic codes are easy to remember. If I go with machine level language, it's very difficult to remember the binary digit. But if I go with assembly level language, we are going to have mnemonics, and to remember the mnemonics, it is very easy, and it is very easy to modify, and it is very easy to debug. But what is the disadvantage? These languages are mnemonics and it is machine dependent. So the assembly level language programming takes longer time to code. That means here I'm going to use mnemonics, and whatever the mnemonics I'm going to code, that is purely machine dependent, and to code the mnemonics I require longer time. So this is the disadvantage of assembly level language. Now dear student, I'm going to have the high level language. So what is this high level language? A language designed to make programming easier. So if I go with high level language, I'm going to have English language. Why I'm going to use English language? Because I want to make the program easy. For that reason, I'm going to use high level languages. So a language designed to make programming easier through the use of familiar English word and symbols. So a high level language used English like language. That means high level language always uses English like language. It is very easy to remember, it is very easy to learn, as well as it is very easy to use. So here high level languages are machine independent. So what is this machine independent? That means whatever the program or whatever the instruction I'm going to write for any one machine, and I can take same program for another machine and I can able to run without any modification, and that nature itself known as machine independent. Therefore, a program written for one computer can be executed on different computer with no or only slight modification. Without any modification also I can able to run the program, or with the minimum modification I can able to run the program. Some of the example I can able to have here, that is C, C++, Java, Fortran, Pascal. These are the example for high level language. Now I'm having the simple code, and this is the code for C++ programming language. So a high level language has to be converted into machine equivalent. That means if I write the instruction by using high level language, then I want to convert that into machine code, because computer does not understand high level language. Here computers are able to understand only machine language, that is nothing but zeros and ones. For that reason I required translator. So what is translator here? That is nothing but the converting high level programming language into machine code. So the job of the translator is to convert high level language to machine code, is known as compiler. So here which translator I'm going to use? That is compiler. So the translator program that converts an high level language code into machine code is called compiler. Then what is the advantage here? That is high level languages are machine independent, easy to learn and easy to understand, easy to modify and easy to debug. That means if I go with high level language, then whatever the instruction I'm going to write, that is machine independent, and it is very easy to learn because it uses English statements, and it is very easy to modify, and it is very easy to debug. And what's the disadvantage here? High level language is slower in execution. So it is very slow in execution. It requires compiler to convert high level language to machine level language. Then high level language takes more time to execute and it requires more memory. These are the disadvantages of high level language. Now I'm going to have language translator. So what is language translator? Think that I know only my native language, and if I want to communicate with someone, they don't know my native language, in that time I required one person to translate. Similarly, if I consider computers are able to understand only machine language, but all the instructions are written by using high level language as well as assembly level language. Now I want to convert assembly level language as well as high level language to machine understandable form. I require translator. So the translator translates the high level language into machine level language. So what is the job of the translator? That is converting high level language to low level language. The three type of translators are assembler, compiler and interpreter. Now let's see what is assembler. So dear student, we are familiar with the programming language, that is assembly level language. Now whatever the instruction that is written using assembly level language, that must be converted into machine understandable form For that, I required assembler. Now, what is the input to the assembler? That is source code. So what is this source code? That is nothing but the assembly level language. That means instructions are written using assembly level languages are the input to the assembler. Then what is the output? That is machine code. Now the example for assemblers are TASEM, MASEM, etc. Now the next type of translator here is compiler. Now, what is the job of the compiler? That is to convert high-level language to machine-level language. Now, what is the input to the compiler? That is program written using C or C++ or any high-level languages are the input to the compiler. Now, compiler is responsible for converting high-level language to machine-level language. So, what is this machine-level language? That is nothing but machine code. That is nothing but zeros and ones. And the example for high-level programming languages are C and C++. Now I'm going to have interpreter. So dear student, before going to start with the interpreter, let me to tell the difference between compiler and interpreter. So compiler means what? It's going to compile entire program together. That means it's going to execute entire program together. But if I go with the interpreter, it's also responsible for converting high-level language to machine-level language, but it is going to convert one line at a time. So it is going to interpret one line at a time, or it is going to translate one line at a time, and it continues the reading. That means after converting one line at a time, it's going to continue the reading and translate and execute the statement one by one. So it's going to read the statement, translate the statement one by one until it reach the end of the statement. Therefore, it is very slower than compiler. So it is very slower than compiler. So if I go with compiler, the execution speed is very high because it's going to read and execute entire program once. If I go with interpreter, it's going to convert, read one line at a time. Instead of that, if I go with compiler, the execution speed of the compiler is very high because it's going to read and convert entire program. So this is the difference between compiler and interpreter. Now I'm going to have the linker and loader. A source program written in high-level languages may contain a number of modules or segments. Now dear student, if I consider any source program that is written using high-level language may include number of modules as well as segments. To execute that, I have to link the modules as well as segments. Now the job of the linker is to link the module and segment. So this operation is performed by the software called linker. The job of the linker is to link all the module, that is nothing but the subprogram, along with the segment. So a linker is a system software that links or combines smaller program to form a single program. For example, think that I have smaller program 1, smaller program 2 and smaller program 3. Now I'm going to use linker to combine all 3 programs together to form one single program. So this is the job of the linker. So once an executable program is generated, someone will be load that program. So once the program is ready, now who is responsible for loading the program? That is loader. Now the program must be loaded into the main memory for the execution. Now who is responsible for loading the program? That is none other than loader. So this operation is performed by the software called loader. A job of the loader is to load the machine code of a program into the system memory and prepare this program for execution. Now the job of the loader is to load the machine code to the computer memory in order to perform its execution. And at the last, I'm going to have utility software. So dear student, utility softwares are very, very important. Why? Because if my laptop or computer want to perform or function properly, then I must have utility softwares in my computer system. Why? Because it is responsible for performing all the cleanup, or it is responsible for providing security to the computer system. I required utility software. So utility softwares are those helpful programs that assist the computer to perform helpful functions like backing up disk, scanning, cleaning virus, etc. So here utility software is also example for software, but it is responsible for cleaning backup files as well as scanning. So dear student, utility software is generally called application oriented ready-made software program. So here utility software is also called by the name application oriented ready-made system program. Some of the important utility softwares are text editor, backup utility, disk defragment, antivirus software. These are the example for utility software. So dear student, in my today's session, I started with what is software, the type of software. Along with that, I have covered linker, loader, language translator. So dear student, in my next session, I'm going to deal with type of software once again. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.